Do you wonder why things happen the way they do, and you desire to be in control? Then follow me. Let's take a trip into the unknown. Every single day, you make choices: what to eat, what to believe, who to trust. But what if those choices weren't entirely your own? What if invisible forces were guiding your thoughts, shaping your emotions, and even controlling your actions, without you realizing it? Sometimes, all it takes is a few carefully chosen words to shift the way you think. This is the power of suggestion, silent, invisible, yet incredibly strong. We obey instructions more often than we realize, even when deep down, something feels wrong. Part of this obedience comes from what we see, not just what we hear. Body language, the silent persuader, speaks louder than words. Repetition, too, is more than just a learning tool. It's a way to quietly program the subconscious mind. And when information is framed in just the right way, it can completely alter your perception of reality. Fear, used strategically, becomes one of the most effective manipulation tools of all. But where's the line between influence and control? Even trust, one of our most valued emotions, can be turned into a weapon. Some will build it up just to create dependence, making you feel you can't act without them. The media understands this game well, using carefully crafted narratives to guide public opinion. And authority? Just a title, a uniform, or a badge can make us obey without question. When we see others agree, we're more likely to follow, a phenomenon called social proof. It starts small, a simple request here, a favor there, and suddenly you're deep inside the foot in the door trap. Then there's gaslighting, the psychological warfare of twisting reality until you doubt your own memory. Guilt can keep you chained to actions you don't truly want. Scarcity makes us rush, pushing us to make quick, emotional decisions. And sometimes, the choices we're given aren't really choices at all. Controlled environments produce obedience, and history, as well as experiments, proves it. The Milgram study revealed just how far people will go when authority tells them to act. Cults take this to the extreme, using emotional hooks to promise belonging, while slowly erasing personal freedom. Anchors, single reference points, can shape how we remember events and make decisions. Advertisers use this, too, repeating messages until critical thinking starts to fade. Reward and punishment form cycles that keep our behavior exactly where someone wants it. Even subtle mirroring of your movements can create trust, making persuasion far easier. The placebo effect shows us something incredible. Belief itself can change both mind and body. But if you control the flow of information, you control the boundaries of thought itself. And this brings us to the ultimate question. Where is the ethical line between persuasion and manipulation? Mind control doesn't always look like science fiction. It's often quiet, subtle, almost invisible. And that's why it's so dangerous. To protect yourself, you must learn to recognize the techniques, question the sources, and think for yourself, even when everyone else is moving in the same direction. Because the moment you stop paying attention is the moment someone else starts making your decisions for you. But awareness is power. The moment you begin to see the patterns, the strings lose their grip. Knowledge turns manipulation into recognition, and recognition into freedom. The truth is, no one can fully control your mind unless you hand them the keys. And the greatest act of resistance is to choose for yourself. So guard your thoughts, question the voices around you, and never forget, your mind is your own. Protect your mind, own your choices. What about psychological manipulation? Psychological manipulation rarely begins with threats. It often begins with something simple, a smile. A smile can look warm and welcoming, yet behind it may hide intentions that aren't so pure. Like a puppet master pulling strings, Manipulators control actions and decisions, often without people even realizing it. And when everyone nods in agreement, the one who dares to question is left feeling isolated, confused, and alone. Manipulation disguises itself well. A bright, inviting door that promises comfort, but only leads to a trap. Sometimes, it's nothing more than a whisper, sounding like advice, but carrying hidden chains of control. Crowds, too, can be led astray. With enough persuasion, entire groups can follow a leader blindly, even toward danger. In this game of influence, people are not players, they're pawns, moved across an unseen chessboard. The manipulator knows how to wear many faces. A smile to earn your trust, a scowl to inspire fear. Even generosity can become a weapon, a gift offered in one hand, while the other secretly holds chains. And in the digital age, manipulation has gone viral. Even in our social feeds, subtle cues and hidden messages are designed not to inform, but to hypnotize. But manipulation goes deeper than crowds or technology. It invades emotions. Some people are trapped in glass jars labeled guilt, sealed shut by the words of others. Not every embrace is genuine. Sometimes comfort masks the stance of a predator. Words themselves can become strings. Fear, shame, even love, pulling hearts and minds in unnatural directions. A manipulator may promise support, only to vanish when you need them most. Victims find themselves drowning, not in water, but in words, gaslighting, flattery, deception, until they can barely breathe. And so, the path of life becomes a twisted maze, where even the signs have been turned to mislead. On the surface, the game looks fair. But behind the scenes, someone is always moving the pieces when no one's watching. Hypnotic influence doesn't always require a pocket watch. Sometimes it's just attention held long enough to shape belief. The danger lies in the mask. The reflection you see may smile, but the truth beneath that smile may smirk with malice. And like a glowing contract that promises everything, the trap lies not in the words you read, but in the fine print hidden deep in the shadows. This is psychological manipulation, subtle, invisible, and powerful. The question is, will you recognize it before the strings tighten? And the truth is, it works like a spell. This is where manipulation thrives, out of sight, just beyond awareness. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It doesn't push, it nudges. And over time, those small nudges bend thoughts, reshape beliefs, and steal choices, without a victim even realizing it. The greatest danger of psychological manipulation is its invisibility. Chains made of steel can be seen and broken, but chains made of influence are often invisible, carried willingly by those who don't know they are bound. It begins with trust and ends with control. It begins with kindness and ends with dependence. And sometimes, it begins with love, but ends with obedience to someone else's will. But awareness is the first step to freedom. When you learn to question the too perfect smile, to test the words whispered in your ear, and to read the shadows as carefully as the glowing promise, you take back your power. Manipulation may be subtle, but so is awareness. A single moment of clarity can cut the strings. A single act of courage can break the spell. And a single decision to see the truth can end the illusion. Because in the end, the strongest defense against psychological manipulation is not fear, it is understanding. And once you see the strings, you can choose never to be controlled again. You can break the chains of manipulation controlling your mind and activities both in private and in public, and turn it to your advantage. In my next video, we are going to dive deeper into how you can apply this knowledge in your daily life, work and relationships, and be in control always. If this inspired you, do not forget to share and subscribe for more.